to Mary's Eclectic Interests. Today I'm going to be preparing wild rice casserole, and all I need for that is a pound of hamburger, and this is 85% lean. And I have a half a cup of chopped onion, a half a cup of celery, diced celery, and over here is a quarter teaspoon of pepper and a teaspoon of salt, and 2 3/4 cups of wild rice, cooked wild rice. So my pan is warm, so let's get this going with the hamburger. I'm going to put the hamburger in, and since this is a TV show, let's use the better pot holders and bring this around. There, so I can hold it with my left hand. And let's get rid of the meat plate. So the first thing I'm going to do is combine the hamburger, which there's already grease in this pan, but this is 85% lean, so it's going to give off a lot. I think my pan is a little too high, so let's turn it down a little bit more. And let's get in. Now I put the onion in my food processor because I'm not real fond of chunky stuff. And I did the same thing with the celery. Now if you don't have a food processor, just chop it with a knife, just like I used to do before I had a food processor. And I'll get the pepper here as soon as I get this going a little bit. There we go. Put a little bit of pepper in. And here's the salt. And I can get rid of all of these and put them aside. All I have left is the wild rice, and that'll be for later on. So I'm just going to get it out of the picture a little bit while we get this going. So I had a few technical difficulties doing this show. Did not like my SD cards. So I'm hoping that everything will come out correctly. Now this is going to have quite a bit of, because it is 85% lean, there's going to be quite a bit of grease. And as you'll notice over here, I realize that this is a colander, but it's the biggest thing that I have, and I did put quite a few paper towels in there, and there's a plate underneath so that I can drain that grease out of here because I don't want it in the actual dish. And you can use leaner meat if you want to, but I just happen to have, this is 85% lean was what I had. Whoops, losing a few things here. And this is quite easy to make because eventually it's going to go into an 8x8 pan. And it will be cooked at 350 degrees in the oven. I cheated. I did not cook wild rice. We have canned wild rice. Look at this. For us, yep, it comes in a can. Isn't that great? So I used canned wild rice, and I measured out my 2 3/4 cup of wild rice. Otherwise, you're going to have to cook it from scratch, and I could have used that because actually I have some wild rice in my freezer that I did cook. But I need to get rid of the canned goods. Canned goods take a lot of space. Using the canned wild rice cuts out a huge step of cooking time, especially if you are strapped for time. Otherwise, you can make your wild rice and do what I do, which is freeze it. I make a batch of rice. I have brown rice, white rice, wild rice, and I cook it up, and then I just put it on a cookie sheet, put it in the freezer, wait for it to freeze, take it out, and put it in Ziploc bags, label it wild rice, brown rice, or whatever it is. And then when I do have to do some quick cooking, or just it's a cold day and I want, maybe chicken rice soup, and I happen to have leftover chicken, I don't have to cook the rice. Now I do the long cooking rice, meaning that it's not instant, so it takes quite a while to cook that type of rice, and usually half an hour to an hour. So that's why I do it ahead of time. If you're using the instant rice, that's going to go a lot faster. Okay, this looks like it's cooked. I have quite a bit of grease in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my, turn this off. And I don't want to burn myself, so I'm just going to try and move this forward a little bit. And I'm going to put this over here. There. Okay. This is how we're going to do it. When you have one of these big old iron pans, I'm just going to scoop it out and put it in. That'll take care of it. There. Wasn't that easier than what I was going to do? Safety is everything. But I do like the cast iron. I just happen to like how things turn out in it. Wow, you see all the grease on the bottom of this. Now I'm going to take this big pan. Now I can do this with 2 hands. No problem. And I put that back on my stove. And then I can just push this up here so that it's out of my way. And now I'm just pushing all that grease and icky stuff out of there. And I have a little bit of a mess here. Clean that up a little bit. I'm going to bring out my 8 by 8 inch pan. Now I think what I'm going to do, I'm wondering if I could just mix it in here, or if I should mix it in the bigger bowl and then plop it in there after the fact. All the hamburger, and this will be thrown out. I'm going to just move this over. And here's all of my wild rice, and like I said, this is from a can. It's 2 3/4 cups. And when I used the can one, I actually had an extra 1 cup in there. And then here's my can of, you put in either cream of mushroom or cream of chicken. Our family usually use the cream of chicken, but I have food allergies, so I can only find 1 can of, I found cream of mushroom soup in Amy's that works. And you're just going to pour that all in. I did not have a spatula. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of water. It doesn't say to, but this is a little bit thicker than what I'm used to in our family recipe used to using. But let's see if I can mix this all together. I'm sure as it's cooking, it's going to thin out. But I might just put a little bit of water in. Just put a couple of tablespoons on the bottom of this, and I'm just going to flip it through the pan, this can a little bit, get some of that broth out of there. And there, just a little bit. It'll make it easier to mix it in. Now, the last ingredient, and this is optional if you don't want it, You don't have to put it in. Happens to be slivered almonds that you put on top. And here are my slivered almonds. And I don't want to use my hands in it, especially my right hand, because I had meat and things like that. So I'm being a little more cautious on getting these out than I normally would be. And again, these are this is optional. If I have it in the house, then I use them. If I don't, then I don't. All right, let's get this in. Put this in the oven, as I said, at 350 degrees. Thank you for watching Mary's Eclectic Interests. Take care and stay safe. Welcome to Mary's Eclectic Interests. Today we'll be making cranberry sauce. The next thing that I'll be cooking is cranberry sauce. And the recipe's on the cranberries that I buy right here. And it's really simple. All it is 4 cups of cranberries, which is what's in the bag. And there's 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water. That's it. That's all there is. So we're going to put the 2 cups of water in. And it says to boil the water. So that's going to take a little while to do. And then we're going to add these 2 things. Okay, I'm looking and it's starting to boil a little bit. Let's throw in some sugar. Now, I normally don't use sugar in mine. I have been using honey. And sugar is a little sweeter, so what I'm going to do is just put part of the sugar in here. I can always add the rest in later. I just don't want too much sugar. So I do it to taste. I wanted my little wooden spoon here. Okay, I'm going to have to turn this down a little bit. And I also have, yes, this is a potato masher for mashing down the cranberries. So let's get, now it says to do all of the sugar at once and dissolve it. But I'm not doing that. There. Now this is going to start popping. Now these cranberries came from my freezer. I buy them when they're in season. And then just take them out. And if I want to make cranberry crunch, some sort of dessert or anything with cranberries, I've got them on hand. Because they're rather hard to find off season. Now this is going to take a while for it to start popping. And I'm going to turn this back up. Oops. There. And I can get rid of this out of here. And this. Now another recipe I want to do, but that's going to be later. I'm going to have my lunch because it is a bit late here. I haven't had lunch yet. So my lunch is going to be wild rice casserole, cranberry sauce, and I have some biscuits. So I'm going to cheat with the biscuits. And the biscuits I'll be putting in as soon as this gets done. But the biscuits are not handmade. They're from the dairy section in the refrigerator section where you just take them out of a tube, put them on a cookie sheet and throw them in the oven. I suppose I should make them from scratch, but why when I can buy something that's just as good in the dairy section? Well, let's watch this and see what it does here. Now you'll see why I have this. Because this squashes those down better and makes them pop. Otherwise, we could be here all day. I'm going to have to turn this down. It's really boiling. I don't know if I want to use this. I don't want to stain my nice new spoon, so we'll use this one here. We have a long ways to go. And I'm debating on whether to put the rest of that sugar in. It says do it all at once, but like I said, sometimes things get a little too sugary for me because I don't eat a lot of sugar. And the less sugar you eat, the more you notice it in other things. You just go, oh my gosh, what they do, pour the whole bag of sugar in there. Whereas prior to my limiting sugar, I never could really tell. Same thing with if you make a pie. If you're using red apples, they're sweeter, so you're going to use more, or I should say less sugar. And it's amazing how many people make a pie with sweet apples and still put the same amount of sugar in that they would for the Green's Granny Smith apples. Still got a long ways to go. This is going to take longer, I think, than the wild rice soup. Or so I should say the wild rice casserole. And it does thicken as it cools down. I'm going to sample a little bit, see if I have to put some more sugar in. Yeah, see, I did not use all the sugar they wanted me to use, and to me that's fine. So let's see how much sugar I actually did use. Let's not put it in there that's wet. I'm just grabbing what I have here. Let's see. Okay, a little more than half a cup. So let's just say instead of putting in the 2 cups, I put in 1.5 cups, and to me that is just fine. If I would have went with 2 cups, it would be like eating sugar out of the sugar bowl. Now this is not for everybody because when we were kids we liked the jellied cranberries. So I'm going to turn this off. There we go. And don't have enough of these, but I'm going to do 4 of them. And then I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. But I'll let you see what it looks like. There's one. Ow! It's a little bit on the hot side. I'm hoping I have enough. Get in there, get in there. Now once these cool off, I have little caps for them. And I have enough, not quite for one of those though. Let's just put it in a little jar that here, I'll have this for lunch today. Let's see if it'll go in. Yep, just enough. Okay, so let's take this and put it here. And I'll do a little cleanup. Now what I like when I do this, let's say I'm going over to a friend's and I know they're going to have the jellied cranberries. I'll just ask them, is it okay if I bring my own? And I'll bring a couple of these. And if they get eaten, they get eaten. Otherwise, most people, I just end up bringing them back because I'm the only one that likes this type of cranberry sauce. But there are a few that like cranberry sauce instead of the jelly. And I'm not going to put them on real tight because they really are hot. But you can see it's not the regular jar tops. They're these little plastic things, and I really like these. So these are all going to go into the refrigerator. And this is what it looks like after it's been in the refrigerator for a while. Thank you for watching Mary's Eclectic Interests. Take care and stay safe.